Double RT Boxing Show, doing another full fight card review. You hear the siren. You're here because you're a boxing junkie. You love to talk boxing. You need your fix. The Ready Talk Boxing Show gives you your medication. Sit your junkie ass down. If you're not a subscriber yet, feel free to walk the halls of this rehab center. See if you feel comfortable here. If this is where you want to get your fixes at, come on back and subscribe. Until then, just enjoy the high. Enjoy it. Now, this is a tough one to do a full card review on, because, like I said, if you just stumbled in here hearing that siren, on full card reviews we just do the main card. We don't do the whole fight card, because not every platform gives you the opportunity to watch a whole card like the Zone does, like ESPN Plus. So the Fox and Showtime ain't quite there yet. So this card only had two fights. Only had two fights. Now, given the undercard went fast, now you can make a case the best fight was the very first fight. But hey, that's our very first fight of the prelims. Now, that's the Barrios and Hernandez fight. That was a good ass fight. But going on to the main fight, and again, four categories, 10-point system. Let's see now. On paper, these fights were fucking legit. You got Nonito Donaire, but forgot the feeling. The feeling of Stephen Young hurt this fight. Now, on paper, it was Teti and Donaire. Hot shit. Going down to Stephen Young, dropped it down to like a fucking whatever you think Donaire is worth. 4 points, 2 points. Give him just on Donaire is himself. It's feel bad, but this fight itself was a 2. This fight was a 2. Even though Stephen Young was ranked number 5, I felt no type of threat, no type of contest on the paper. Then you have Regis Progress and Kirill Relic. Regis being the boogeyman at 140, you could say, if you want to just that term gets used, but we could use it. I think we understand what we're saying. And then Relic, I held Relic, as a legit champion. He comes to fight. He doesn't bitch. He doesn't run. He comes to fight. So I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a good fight. Because me as a fan of boxing, I was never fully sold on Regis. I saw a man with talent, but I just needed him with the right opponent to like, okay, he can do what he's doing against anybody. It's just not weak competition. So Relic was the opponent for me. So I was very excited about that fight. I actually thought Regis was going to lose, because I was like, hey, I haven't seen him do it against a top-notch opponent. And all of a sudden, I thought that fight, I actually thought that was a good-ass fight on paper. Like, this is a legitimate, hardcore fight. This is a good-ass fight. So I give that fight about a 9. I give that fight a 9. So with those two fights on paper, let's say with Regis dropping, with a Donaire opponent dropping out, and I thought Relic and Regis was a high ass fight, but with the dropout, these two fights become like maybe I want to say 7. But that Stephen Young drops it bad. He drops it bad because it was no maybes talked about. Was no ifs. Stephen Young did this. Maybe if he does this. Nothing was even giving Boxing Banner a chance for us fans to think of an upset. And right here on the Double RT Boxing Show, if you watch the show, Mr.A gets a lot of fucking predictions wrong, because I'm always overthinking, trying to talk ways into underdogs could pull it off. I couldn't do it with Stephen Young. I couldn't do it. So with Stephen Young in the thing, Regis and Relic, great fight on paper. I give those two fights as a whole probably like a 5. Stephen Young drops this bad. A 5, which sucks because this card would have been like probably the highest card rated since that and injected the point system. So we're sitting on a 5 right there. Now the fights themselves, For a shitty fight on paper, Stephen Young and Donaire, it was pretty interesting for the 6 rounds. It was definitely better than what I thought it was going to be. You know, Stephen Young, as an unknown quantity, came in there. He tagged Donaire a couple times. He showed some movement. But Donaire did what he was supposed to do. He did what we like to see the A side do. Go in there, walk him down, get the timing down, get the rhythm of the fight down, get the sense of what your opponent doing, and bow, cracked his ass, and probably gave us knockout of the month. So the fight on paper was a 2, turned out to be probably like a 6. Just for the effort Stephen Young gave and the finish that Donaire gave us. And then the fight itself with Relic and Regis, like I said, I needed to see Regis do something against a game opponent, and the motherfucker did it. I can officially say, like, okay, cool. Everything about Regis I was seeing before, I'm going to fully give it my full belief. And I'm fully behind Regis as a boxer. I just needed to see him against a quality opponent. Like I said, I held Relic as an opponent because I know that motherfucker comes to fight and tries to win. I didn't feel that with any Regis opponent. And then body shot, vicious, hawking him down, beating the shit out of him like he always does. So I gave that fight. I gave it in real life. That fight was probably, the way he went at that champion, broke him down, took him out with the rib shot from the beginning. I gave that fight like a fucking. Yeah, I give it a. They stopped it due to the corner, which is legit. It's part of boxing. I give that fight a 9. I give it a 9. Maybe an official knockout would have gave it a 10, but that was a high caliber fight, in my opinion, because it had Regis, a diamond champion, taking on his biggest opponent on the biggest stage, and them fuckers showed up, probably broke the dude's fucking ribs, because once he hit in the first round, the fight was over. Relic's walking around, basically she had an arm brace and just taped his fucking arm to the side, and Regis eventually suckered him in, like, okay, dude, you ain't gonna guard your head? Oh, it's on now, and start cracking the shit out of him. So that fight, on paper, these fights were like a 6. I think it was said, or yes, I say a 6. If I forgot what I said, but I just give it 6. But in real life, Regis did a good job. Donaire and Stephen Young did the best that Stephen Young could provide. So I give the fights, like I said, I'm still going to drop it because Stephen Young wasn't quite the show up, but he did the best he can. I give the fights an 8. So we're sitting at 14. Now, the crowd, which was very small, like I said, the zone matchroom, well, not the zone, but it's the zone, but not matchroom. This is why the WBSS, besides the network deals, was having a hard time and contemplating on coming to the States. Boxing itself is a very hard sell in the United States. No matter who the fuck you are, it's a very hard sell. And everyone thinks just because Floyd did what he did, it's easily duplicated. You don't understand how hard it is to do what Floyd did over here in the States. Boxing, like I said, if you're watching this and you're in the States, you get an idea. But if you're in another country and you're watching this, boxing is like the fucking 9th, 12th, 13th sport in the United States, man. You got all the pros. You got football, basketball, baseball, hockey. Then you got all the college versions of them. Then you got fucking golf, tennis. Then it's boxing. So for Floyd to do that, it's fucking amazing. So that's why you see these crowds. You're like, oh, like Lomachenko has like, I think one crowd like 3,000-4,000 people, and that Regis crowd was a low crowd. All the times they kept showing the lights and all that stuff flashing for the step into the light. The Sauerland promotions, the World Boxing Super Series, has a great Great setup. The cameras, the lights, the ring walk. I think they had the best fucking ring. I love their setup. Even the commentary was a little weird between damn, I forgot the guy with the weird face who talks real weird. You know, the ring announcer, him and Kendall Gill, a basketball boxer. They were pretty decent. They carried the flow. They talked the boxing game behind the jab. They carried the flow of the fights pretty good. They used a lot of analogies between boxing and basketball, tying the both commentary lives together. So I felt the commentary wasn't the best duo on paper, but they carried the flow of the fights very well. You know, hit, talking about the strategies, the body shots, the footworks, the opponents. You know, I give the commentary surprisingly. Like I said, I'm like, oh shit. When I turned to this Southern, when I turned on the WBC, I'm like, oh my god, this is what I'm gonna have to listen to. But it was entertaining. I give them an 8. You know, you can say it was too high, whatever, but I give the commentary an 8. So with the 8 and 6 and 14, we're looking at 22, already higher than the last Mayweather promotion. And then the actual crowd participation, a low ass crowd, but they gave it. They obviously fighting in Louisiana. They had a little more oomph behind Regis' fight, so they got into it. And with Regis beating the shit out of them, knock him down in the first round, they were screaming about it. And then Nito Donaire finishing the way he did, I give the crowd like a 7. You know, so for a 2-card fight, that's a 29. Very, like I said, if Teti would have been in this could have been probably like almost like a 40-point card. It could have almost been perfect, I believe. I believe the commentaries would have had more to talk about. The crowd would have been more into that Donaire fight. But as right now, it's a 29. And like I said, mainly due because the filler. It's not Stevie Young fight. Like I said, he was ranked number 5. You know, he did what he was supposed to. It just, at the stage of his career, the boxing world just didn't know him. And he just got thrown into the world with a bunch of A-listers, and he wasn't an A-lister, and so it drowned it out. So I'm giving this card a 29. Thank you for your time and support.